So we're going to look at internet safety and harms in this next session, and the internet is a fabulous tool. I mean, we all use it every day on our phones, laptops, computers, in school, at work, wherever we are. I mean, I don't think that anybody is not touched in some way by
Unless they don't know how to use a computer.
massive
or they don't have a
advance of the
smartphone.
internet in the last 5-10 years. But with it does come obviously some challenges, and I imagine that any young person sitting watching this has probably had some assemblies on internet safety and harms and lessons and stuff already on this. But I think it's important that we do focus on it again, because there are, as it grows, like everything does, there are more and new challenges to the internet that young people are facing than they ever did before, I think.
Oh yeah.
So we will delve right into some of that.
Yes.
So there's, I think a lot of young people now are living their lives partly in the real world and partly actually in the online world now.
Oh yeah.
And I think, that with that comes quite a lot of challenges and what that might mean. So we're going to show you some internet Photoshop images. And we just want you to have a look at some of these, and then obviously there's a slide after that will support this. So just have a look at these before and after shots. What do you think could be the impact of some of these images that have been quite heavily edited and photoshopped on young people?
It's so unfair, and adults are affected by this too. But we're talking about young people and being prepared for the rest of your life and not being overly influenced by things that aren't real. So heavily photoshopped images, they are indeed real people, but as you've probably just seen, not really how they look, which gives us, at any age, unrealistic expectations of how we should look. So having worked with young people for a couple of decades now, and the more internet that comes into our lives and the easier it is to get on our phones and everything else, and people are posting pictures of how they should look, and the pressure's on, and people can't attain that way of looking because it's not real. It's been done on a computer. Even people who are very, very fit have been altered on computers to look even more fit, which leads to a lot of eating disorders, low self-esteem, self-harming, low self-confidence, feeling like they'll never be good enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, buff enough, built enough. So it's getting harder and harder to. You can't filter those images out, can you?
And I guess, young people now have got a lot more social media stuff of their own, so they've got a lot of them have got a very strong online presence as well. So, they've got their own, done lots of selfies themselves, and, they've put themselves out there in a way that once those images are out, you can't
take them back. And then the responses that people get to their selfies, whether positive or negative, well, the negative ones can really, really hit you hard and make you doubt yourself even more. Even though you thought you looked really good when you did that, then you get a few people being disrespectful to you, then you're not going to feel very good, are you?
No. So it's a bit of a vicious circle, isn't it? And I think, the young people now are actually targeted directly for a lot of advertising as consumers. So they are, there's a lot of targeting, there's a lot of advertising for various different products and activities that actually is aimed at them. And sometimes I guess it's difficult for them to necessarily see past the adverts and the pictures and the promises that you'll be this, that and the other if you use this product, or you can buy this. Yeah.
You'll be thinner, more popular, happier. Thinner. That's a combination of happier and thin.
Well, who would want that?
You'll be thinner, happier, have more friends. And what is happening more and more now is that it's all done with algorithms, which young people probably know more about than I do. But even I know that within 10 clicks of liking something, an algorithm knows more about you than you think they do. Then within 20 clicks or something, they know more about you, your likes, your dislikes, and how to target things at you than you would ever know.
Yeah, so it really is deliberately targeted. If you've searched things on your phone or computer that might be your concerns and anxieties, those algorithms may well prey on some of those and offer you quick fixes
Cures,
to those. That actually, you just got to be really mindful that not everything you see
is real.
Yeah, is real or can be trusted, and that's really difficult. And,
Yeah, because it looks real. It is real. It's on your phone, or it's on your iPad, or it's on your computer. It's got people. Yeah. Real people who look real anyway, but so don't trust it all.
Don't trust it. In the next activity, I'm going to ask you to have a bit of reflection time on your own, and then in pairs to share some of your own online presence and some of your own activities online, so that you get an idea really of where you're at the moment, and if there's anything that you may need to do in the future that might need to change in terms of how you're using the internet. So hopefully from that activity you've had the chance to think about your own online activities, and I just want to have a little chat to you, Harry, about how you think that might link with mental well-being, some of that increased use in screen time. What do you see in some of the young people that you see?
The more, it's exactly what you said, the more screen time you have, it's the more unrealistic expectations of yourself, whether it's your body or your mind or your sporting ability or your friendship group. So it's not, the internet is not evil, it's not bad, it's just taking it in small doses and keeping the realistic expectations of what you're looking at. Don't believe absolutely everything you see, and don't take comments to heart. So some places I've worked, the screen time is limited to students, which is actually a good thing. I know it sounds like torture, it sounds like a mean, cruel thing to do, but with less screen time and more real time with real people, anxiety levels go down. And then when they are able to go online, it's quite a fun thing, and it's not their whole lives. Because I think we can, at any age, we can get kind of sucked into the virtual world.
So I guess it's the awareness of how much you're using, and how much time you're spending in that online world and how much time you're spending in the physical world, and making sure that it's the right balance for you.
Yeah, and it's very personal to you too. So, well, my friend does online gaming 6 hours a day and he's fine, so I'm going to do it. But when I spend all my time online gaming, I don't sleep well, or I don't eat well, or I get in big arguments with my parents. So 6 hours of online gaming for you is not working.
Yeah, so it's different for
everyone. So keep it personal. Don't compare yourself to other people and go, well, she does it, he does it.
One of the interesting increases that has come in lately as well is about the access to gambling online, and how that can be, again, particularly targeted directly at young people, and the increases in that. Is that something you've seen in your work?
Yes, constantly changing. Just when I think I've got a grip on it, a young person sits in front of me and goes, oh, I sell skins online, which was described to me, and it's not anything inappropriate. It's something to do with, I can't remember, but it's gambling, because it was explaining. I said, oh, that sounds interesting and fun, and then it's actually quite involved. It is gambling and selling and making more. And I thought, and then when you start losing money, which makes you anxious, you may be losing money you really don't have, or you can't afford to lose. And young people can get addicted to gambling. It's not just an old people thing. It's not for, it can happen to anybody. So
because the NHS is this, I think this year, set up some actual gambling for young people clinics for the first time. So it's actually recognised as an illness in the same way as mental illness would be.
Yeah. So. And nobody wants to think that a bit of online gaming and gambling is a bad thing, but it can be. Like anything taken to extremes.
Yeah, anything taken to extremes.
It's a bad thing. Things in small doses, good.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is that they start with the small doses, and then going back to those algorithms, going back to the way it works, is that they target you particularly, and they will offer you then free money to pay again and hook you back in.
Yeah.
And those feel-good hormones you get and a rush of adrenaline that you get when you win, is then going to entice you back into something until you then get the losses.
That's the dangerous thing about anything that makes you feel good. So there are healthy adrenaline rushes and unhealthy adrenaline rushes. And if it's a gambling adrenaline rush or anything else online, it's not, you're not producing it naturally, are you?
So
it's being forced on you almost. So you'll spend more money or you'll comment more on something than you normally would.
So we're going to give you a bit of time now to focus on some discussion questions on gambling on the screen. So again, take this time to really have a think as a group and individually as well, if you've got the time to look at some of these issues yourselves. There's a number of different support available for young people for gambling, and we've got a slide at the end which has got some of the websites for that. So there's, but as I say, going in to speak to what would be your advice, I guess, to any young person that's sitting here thinking, actually, maybe I have got an issue with online gambling?
Talk to anybody you trust, even if you're just slightly worried about it. This is for anything really. Don't wait till it becomes a really bad, horrible, scary thing. If you're starting to get slightly concerned, if it's online gambling, you're losing a bit too much money, or you're spending way too much time doing it, talk to someone you trust and like and respect, whoever that is, family, friends, teachers. Preferably someone older than yourself who has a bit more life experience. They can kind of say, yeah, that's a bit of a worry, because our friends will support us pretty much anything we want to do, won't they? They'll say, oh, it's fine, what's a bit of gambling, don't worry about it. So go to someone that's a bit older and a bit more life experience, doesn't matter who it is, and just say, I think this might be a problem.
Excellent. And as I say, there is support through your doctor as well if you need it. I think, we know that the internet is a fabulous resource.
Amazing, fabulous thing.
Life-changing, for a lot of people. I met my husband on the internet. We've been together nearly 20 years. We must have been probably one of the first online couples.
Back in the dial-up days.
It was, back in the dial-up days. And it turns out they live around the corner, even though we were in a worldwide chat room. So, the internet can bring people together from all corners of the world, but also next door.
Yeah.
So it is an amazing resource, but, it does have to be managed safely. And if anybody's experiencing any problems online, with bullying or harassment, there's facilities to block people, to block them, to cut them out, and to report it. And if you're not sure about that, check with your IT teacher at school, or any of your IT support at school, to make sure that happens, or any adult that you trust that's got some IT skills. But don't suffer with any of those things.
And I think it gets a bit trickier when it's people possibly even. Which does happen, bullying you online or making you feel bad about yourself. So it's not a stranger halfway around the world doing it. It's someone and that also needs to be dealt with. So go to people you trust and have that dealt with. Because that's sometimes the most difficult, painful one to do. It's like, but they're my friend. Why are they being so mean to me online for everybody to see?
And sometimes it is just thoughtlessness, and that it's just that little bit too easy to say things without thinking. There may not be as much nastiness behind some of those comments that actually are quite nasty, and if it's pointed out, that might just be enough.
Might stop it.
But definitely don't suffer in silence.
No.
Make sure you speak to somebody and you get that stopped.